or did you get an agent?
When I first started writing this book, it was a picture book, and I'd sent it out on my own. I hadn't ever attempted a novel at this point, so I sent it out to an editor who responded that it was a great story, but she felt the protagonist was too old for a picture book story. And so I just decided from there to turn it into a novel, and then the long process of figuring out how to write a novel started. And I'm still in that process, even though I have a book published. You never learn the whole deal. So.
Yeah. So, how'd you decide a middle grade just because of the...
How did I decide on what?
A middle grade just because of the age of the protagonist, or...
I don't really decide as I'm writing too specifically what audience it's for. Wrote the story first, wanted to present it realistically, so that included violence that may make it a little tough for some readers, or maybe more so for the parents who may not want their kids to read that kind of thing. But HarperCollins decides where that's going to fit in the marketing scheme, and they designated it as for readers 10 and up, which straddles the middle grade and young adult age groups.
Okay. Have they read the book before it came out?
I had my father-in-law read the book because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't messing up on some of the critical details, and he actually helped me fix a couple of problems with some things that I thought I understood, but I really didn't. So yeah, my father-in-law read it in draft form.
How do they feel about the whole thing? I mean, do they feel like it's their story, or do they feel like it's just a universal story?
Well, they definitely feel like it's their story. My father-in-law's name is in the afterword, which includes his time spent in the prisoner of war camp in northern Laos, which was 12 years. So it feels personalized to them. I mean, it is a fiction story, but it wouldn't exist without their history.
Right.
I think it'd be fun to have my family do appearances with me. It was so great to have them dressed in their traditional Laotian clothing at the book launch party, and it just provided a realistic feel to it. This is a real family that lived through things that are similar to what you see in the book, so it just makes it real. And the whole sticky rice, which is such a prevalent part of the book, it's so great to watch my sisters-in-law and my mother-in-law making the nam prick, which is pepper sauce. Nam means water and prick means pepper. And to see them with the mortar and pestle grinding that stuff down, it just puts you right in the mood, right in the scene.
Yeah. You know, Jen commented, and I noticed this too, you don't refer to them as my in-laws or my husband's family. You call them my family.
They are my family. Yeah. I call my dad, father-in-law, I call him Dad. So, yeah, and Mom. So
they just kind of swept you into them.
And they treated me, it's hard, they treated me with like too much respect. It made me uncomfortable when I first came into the family because they didn't want me to get up and clean the dishes. They wanted somebody else to do it. I felt like they were treating me, almost as an outsider, but they just treated other people with a lot of respect. And I was like, let me at it. Give me that dirty bowl. So.
Okay, how old are your kids?
My children are 9 and 7.
Has your 9-year-old read it?
My 9-year-old, even though I told her she couldn't read it, she read it right as soon as she turned 9. And once she started, I thought, fine, this is her story, her family's story to some extent, and she's willing, and I'm here for her to talk to about it, and we did, and it was fine.
Yeah, even, do you think it hit her harder because it is her family story?
I don't know that it hit her hard in a sense, but it was, I felt like she got some of the important parts. The first time I found out that she was reading it, I said, well, is there anything in there that you don't understand? And she said, well, the scene that she'd read was when there's a book that gets taken away from the family because it's a book about American architecture, and the communist soldiers, who are young teenagers themselves, come and take the book and burn it and strike the father. And she wanted to know, she didn't understand why they took the book away, and I explained to her, the whole control of the thought and all that stuff. And she said, and it was almost a quote, she said, but Pa, who is Dad in the book, she goes, but Pa told him they couldn't burn what's already in your mind. And so she got the whole point of a scene was that once you get knowledge, nobody can take that away from you. So that was wonderful.
Yeah.
That was the line that she quoted out of that scene.
Wow, Mom.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, very cool.